7 a.m. We're starting the August meeting of Disciplinary Oversight Board. Present, we're in room K at the Tennessee Tower. Present today is Brother Mike Dunn, Dr. Mary Carpus, Mr. Dale Carr, Mike Sharon, Quantel Lindsay, Lee Frank, myself, Director Stahl, and Administrative Assistant Tammy Turner. Virtual, we have Miss Heather Doyle and Miss Betsy Wiseman. So I think we have a forum, Mr. Director.
We do. Okay, thank you everybody for being here. I won't do roll call. I think we went through that. So we will go straight to the opening prayer. Our Vice Chair, Mr. Dunn, if you do the honors.
Thank you, sir. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we pause to say thank you. Thank you for the many blessings in life. And we say thank you for everyone present and represented in our meeting today. Thank you for our positions. Thank you for our appointing authorities. And Lord, we pray for our leadership in our state government and our national government, county government, and we pray for the Department of Corrections today, Lord. May all who are affected by decisions here today be blessed in your sight, and may we be about your business of justice and of fairness. I pray your blessings on our fellowship today, on our meeting. May everything we do be acceptable in your sight. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go on to the next agenda item, which is the review and approval of minutes from last month. Those were distributed, and the video is on the website for the consideration and review. If there's no discussion about what got distributed or what got posted, we can move straight to a vote. Approval of those minutes. Hearing none, we'll move straight to a vote. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimously. So those are reported. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get into it a bit about the last 30 days. First and foremost, I would like to take a moment to introduce our newest board member, Miss Heather Doyle. She began her onboarding yesterday. She is eager to get going. So I'm going to give her the floor for just a few minutes because I think this is the first opportunity that most board members are having to see her. And I appreciate some people having reached out, talked to her already. But Miss Doyle, if you want to give us just a 30-second little bit about you, I think we'd all welcome it. So please.
Okay, being put on the spot. So I'm Heather Doyle. I'm in Somerville, Tennessee, right outside of Memphis. I have a husband and a 20-year-old who is fixing to be 21 in a month at Knoxville, and a 16-year-old who's homeschooled. Boy is the first and girl is the second, and we live in Somerville on a farm. I worked at the Border Parole before coming here under Barrett Rich, and I'm just ready to get started.
Great. Well, welcome. We're excited to have you. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, great. So that is the big news. A few smaller things. The past few weeks, we've sent a few memos and had some conversations with legislators, answering their questions, providing feedback. We've also had DAs reach out to a few of the board members. I know they've answered some of their questions and responded to those information inquiries. So I appreciate everybody who has done that. We have requested additional info on more than 40 incidents this past month. And I have it here in my notes to mention appeals. Did the appeals subcommittee have a chance to meet and knock those out? Okay,
Yes,
great. So the sub appeals committee met, and we'll get that paperwork out just as soon as I get I get that information. So any questions on the last 30 days?
Would it be a good time for Amy to kind of explain what it's got going on?
If she'd like, Tammy, would you like to take a second and talk a little bit about how we're doing the action forms and how we're utilizing SDS to help us with those?
Yeah, so the new process is an automated process. I'll spit it out. So before I was entering everything, I would collect all of your spreadsheets and then I would enter manually and create those action forms for you. With the new process automation that we have going on now, I take all of your information, put it into one Excel spreadsheet, basically it's the raw data. I upload it to our channel and teams or the process automation team, and it automatically generates those forms now. And then from that, it then forwards to Mike for approval and for his input on there, the comments that he puts on there. Then it goes to Jerry. Once Jerry has approved it and done his review, it automatically converts it to a PDF and sends a notification to a folder to TDOC representatives that they have access to those folders. So they can get all the information they need to update each on this. So it's actually, it's a great process. It's streamlined, it reduces human error. And then it goes to everybody that it needs to. So it actually has helped cut down on my time from having to do it manually, taking it from the spreadsheets or whatnot. But really looking forward to it. We're actually gonna launch it this next week. I'm gonna try it. So if you have any more questions, just ask me about them. I thought you well. Somebody needs that sometime.
No, that was great. That was great.
It's really a great tool. They've worked with us. They've worked with us for several weeks now to get this going. So it's very nice to have them. Definitely.
Yeah, and a big shout out to SCS. They have taken their time. They haven't charged us for their time to do this and create this whole new system for us. So they've been a very good partner to us. I think as a sister agency to across the state, I mean, we love to see that. We appreciate it. And in fact, Jared, who's the lead programmer on this, asked me and maybe Tammy to present at a conference that he's doing a presentation at, to kind of talk about the things they're doing for us. So, we try to give back where we can, and they've been great to us. So, little shout out to them for all their help making that work for us.
Absolutely.
Really, really great. So, okay. Anything else in the last 30 days? All right. Moving on, updates. We are still working on getting some clarification from TDOC on matrix application. We reached out to them on several occasions. We've been promised some stuff, but we are still waiting on that to make its way to us. The FY27 budget cycle has started, so I'll be knee deep in that over the next couple of weeks. And the last thing I wanted to mention on outstanding matters, Betsy, you had emailed a couple of questions you had with regard to inmates that you noticed who were and were not referred to the district attorneys for outside prosecution. I think Quentin Cook on an assault and Ricky Flowers on another assault. Would you like us to reach out to TDOC and have those inmates and those incidents referred to DAs if they weren't on the referral list? Or is there would you like to talk at all about what you're seeing?
Either or both. Yes, I definitely would. My memory of it, I'll have to go back and look at the emails. One had been referred, one had not. And one was a rape that you did show on the DA list, but the other was an assault. I think it was a stabbing and it was not. So I definitely think we need to pursue that and see. I don't know the time frame. Maybe it just hasn't made its way yet. Like maybe it's in the process of, because these are fairly fresh incidents, but
Okay.
I don't have a lot of those that I get. I know we've talked about this in the past and some of you have. I think that was my first rape, and I've only had a few, terrible assaults. They're usually minor. So I'm not really seeing a pattern or anything. I don't know if the rest of you are.
But is that sort of your process as you go through the incidents? If you think that there's a significant enough incident, you're wondering if it's getting referred to the outside prosecution, and that's just something you're doing on an individual basis as you come across incidents, or are you incorporating that into your overall review process?
No, I just do it on a case by case basis.
Well, I think it's great. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Betsy just emailed Tammy and I and had noticed these and wanted some further information on the DA referrals, and we were able to find the ones that had been referred and had not. So I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's a great thing. I think it allows us to utilize all the tools in our toolbox to communicate interchangeably with what we're trying to do. So if you all, have those same types of questions, please let us know. And Betsy, we will we will talk with TDOC about the status of those incidents and see if we can't get them added to that referral list so that they are they're put on there, not just forgotten about. So I just want to say I appreciate you doing that, and if anyone else wants to do that, please let us know. We can certainly do that.
Can I make a quick statement?
Yeah, please.
On the DA referral list, I talked Lee into climbing in and helping me. On the first 2 quarters, there were over 750 referrals. It was made by the Department of Corrections to the district attorney. And out of those, and this is just off the top of my head, about 98% of them never reflect in the Thomas that it was referred to outside prosecution. The majority of cases that we find, and some of them are easy, you could type in the Thomas number and say if it was an indecent exposure, it matches up for the date. Some of them, like on assaults, could have been, say, on May the 2nd. Well, it never was written up until the 14th because it gone through pending investigations. But most of those all have an incident number. And I'm going to say that out of the 750 plus that we did, because some of them would have like multiple offenders, 7 people involved in an assault. About 2% never went to the D board. And I don't know if it was the time factor may have been longer than the time before they could write it up to the D board that had already been held in segregation long enough. But the case is still reviewed. But to me, the challenge is going to be for us to be able to keep up with the DAs to see if they're actually prosecuted. Because as far as indecent exposures and assaults, they're doing a bunch of referrals. If the DAs are actually following through, or if they're just saying,
What percentage of those referrals were for indecent exposure?
well, and this is going to be, I'm going to go off the top of my head.
I'd say 50.
Yeah, it's 50 or maybe 55. It's a high percentage of the indecent exposures, and some of them, and this is something I was talking with Director Stahl, some of them you'll see every other week they're getting indecent exposure. I had one I found, there was 2 people in the room, I guess having a competition on indecent exposure. But some of them that I've seen, like, because we were going from January down through May or June, through June. There was a guy that got an indecent exposure in March, and they referred it to the DA. Since it was referred to the DA, he's not had another write-up. It's like triggered something in the brain that says, "Oh crap, I'm fixing to get some additional time put on it." So on some of them, the DA referrals making a difference. It's making them think, I'm going to stay in prison longer. Some of them, it's just like, it's just going in the light pit.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I noticed that it was, I'm trying to think if there was like Dale's case we had talked about that CBS. It seems like it's about half indecent and half assaults. Whatever kind of assault. But assault and indecent. That's all did you see anything else? Did you see any drug charges?
Loose one, rape.
There were several rapes.
Okay, right.
Homicide,
Side.
several
Yeah.
homicides.
But I was thinking about any sort of like bringing drugs, like that CBS, bringing drugs in prison.
There
I didn't
were
see
some,
those.
there were some conspiracy cases.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like the idea that anything we can put in our toolkit that impacts inmate behavior in a positive way, is there. So to Jerry's point, I mean, even if it just changes one person from deciding to act up, that's good. That's good. So, I mean, yeah, if you come across anything you think needs to be referred, I want to be able to have that conversation with TDOC and let them know, hey, we're seeing this and wasn't on your list and we'd like it to be. And see if that does anything. So thank you, Betsy, for that. And thank you, Jerry and Lee, both for going through those and collating that list and doing that for everybody. Okay, anything else on outstanding matters? Any questions, issues? Okay, all right, moving on, submission and approval into the record, tab 2, I believe, of the initially approved incidents. So for this month, I calculated 779 that don't need further review, which bring up to the total 2025 calendar year, just under 3,000 for incidents that we've looked at. We said these are all procedurally correct and we don't have, we're going to submit them into the record without any further discussion. So if everyone's good with that, I'll entertain a motion to move those into the record.
Motion.
Seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Appreciate that. Okay, and that does it for our agenda items other than the case review. So we will go to Mr. Carr. He's first up. Your docket, sir, if you want to talk everyone through that and give everyone a chance to ask questions and then we'll vote on it.
Okay, well, as you see my docket here, I'm taking this 267 credits off and adding some back on. I had a couple of, if I want to go through this, I had a couple. What I noticed is we're having so many I had 7 that were coded as no weapon when they actually were, and I was giving those a little more concerned about that. Then I noticed that on some of them, I had about 7 cases here that they were being, well, but not okay. That's from, from Morgan County Northwest, and some of them that they're just not being hardly as, they're being a little bit lenient on it. So that's the reason I up those grades there. And then I had this case that we've been talking about this morning about the drugs that were introduced. It was an A and then bumped it back to a B. So, I mean, I have all that case here where they said they took the contraband and they threw it across the fence, and which time the inmate retrieved them. Then the inmates were identified, and following that, they went back over the scale fence. And then while they were over the fence, they began to go back to the pod. And one of them stood watch as a guard to see while they transported all the drugs around. And they were charged with introduction by contraband to a facility, enter and prove, So when I went back to a B on that, I went back to an A on it and said, listen, that's bad stuff. So I took time off of those people there. That's the ones that we've been talking about. Right. And I upped all those to 12 months time. Okay. And then the other incident I had was about staff hostage and beating officers. This is where the guy got out of his pod, went in and closed himself in with the people on the watch that day. And it says here, close the door, locking myself and Officer McCartney, and the offenders were in there with him. And the offender, I won't call him names, placed his hands on me, and he pushed me to sit in a chair. And then he had a homemade knife out of his right pocket, and he went in, and of course they called for help. And he closed with a closed fist. He hit the officer 4 times, and then the officer was able to temporarily restrain him. And the sergeant then responded to the code. And officers need assistance, and then they entered the station and they helped, and they did retrieve, and they were able to take the homemade knife of the offender, and then cuff him. And then they were sent. He refused any medical treatment there at the facility, but they had to treat the guards and everything. The medical staff seen them with minor injuries. But then reason I upped that was I know he did it, but he had that knife with him and he intended to use it. But they wrote it up as no weapon. He had a weapon with him. So that's the reason I upped that grade to 12 months on that one, because I mean, he had the knife. He had the knife there. They only took they took 12. I was just going to tell you about that. That was 12. They took okay. That was fine. But they did it. I left it like that. But there was a knife there. I think sometimes we need to look at that as, okay, it's there. They meant to use it. So therefore, I don't know why they write it up as a no weapon, because the weapon was there. So I can have a crazy analogy, but that's, if anybody wants to ask me about that, you can, okay?
I do have a question.
Okay.
if I followed you along.
Yeah.
An offender went
In-
and took two staff members.
Yeah, I got it here.
Which incident is that? Dale?
This is, incident 1678120 out at, in, northeast. I can read it to you right here. Says after they opened, the officer needs, okay, first of all, was in an officer offender. He entered the officer station and closed the door, locking myself, which is the guard, Officer McCartney and Officer Timothy into the officer station with offender. The offender did place his hands on my Officer McCartney, cashed and pushed me to sit in the chair. Offender, I won't name it, pulled a homemade knife out of his right pocket, and offender then struck me and Officer McCartney once to the upper face with a closed fist, and then struck Officer Drinka in the face with a closed fist 4 times before Officer Drinka and Officer McCartney were able to temporarily restrain the offender. And Sergeant Destiny and Worley Corporal came, and they were responding to the Code 1 officer needs assistance. They entered the officer station, retrieved the homemade knife from the offender, and then placed hand restraints on the offender, and then Sporting Officer then escorted the offender to the infirmary, and he rejected any evaluation from the infirmary there. But the Officer Drink and Officer McCartney were also seen by the medical staff with minor injuries reported. The homemade knife recovered from the offender measured approximately 6 inches in length and was made from a stapler with a cloth wrapped around the handle. An offender was placed in segregated housing. Therefore, offender is being charged with assault on staff, no weapon. Well, I mean, the weapon was there for me, and it's so and what they gave him was 12 months. That's good. But what I'm saying is, I looked at that real close because I don't know why they charged him with no weapon when the weapon was there. I mean, he intended to use it if he could. Don't you think? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I don't know that I'm good with 12 months. You're talking about a lot of premeditated steps in terms of taking hostage 2 staff members and locking them somewhere and beating them.
Yep.
And threatening them with a knife.
Well, this offender had 2 priors, and so they give 12, so I didn't change it. But if y'all want to change it to 24, I mean, that's one reason I was discussing this is if we want to up that from 12 to 24.
What is the number? I'm trying to find it.
It's 167-8125 instant number.
And you said northeast?
Wait, let me look at it again here. My eyes are not working good this morning, folks. I'm sorry. It was northeast, yes.
Say the number one.
Incident number is 167-8120.
I don't think I see that one.
It is.
You see it?
No, I don't, is it on your printed?
Well, I mean, no, it's not on the ones that I took the time off of. It was just okay.
Because you said you're okay.
I okayed it, but I wanted to discuss it because it only took 12. And like she brought up the situation, do you want to take more? That's what, huh? Yeah, it's not on there because I okayed it because they took 12. But put it on here, I guess, for the conversation that Dr. Mary's having is, do you want to take more than 12 on that? It's because there was a knife there, sort of like going to a restaurant, not eating a baked potato and saying, I ain't gonna pay for the baked potato. You're gonna pay for it anyway, sir. So that's what I was leaving up to the board. Do we want to go that one to more than 12 months and make it 24? I mean, I don't care. I would love to myself. But it's up to the board.
I think even in prison, it's an uncommon situation. It deserves extra attention because of the 2 staff members were held hostage and beaten and assaulted. And that's got to cause, no matter how experienced they are or how tough they are, it's got to cause some trauma on the back end and hesitation next time in their workplace. And it's obviously not a good situation if that inmate sets a precedent for getting away with something. We're in my opinion, we're 12 hours 12 credits, is similar to something else, much less offensive. So
Yeah.
I'd be in favor of more time.
Well, I'll make a motion that we up that instant, then we'll have to add to my thing from 12 then to 24.
Yeah, sure.
And I understand, I'm thinking
Well, and
that,
it should be
that's almost
outside
kidnap.
referral.
That's
It's
basically
hostage.
kidnapping.
They were taken hostage, threatened with a weapon.
So maybe he's, maybe the weapon's being held and so they're just gonna take the.
Yeah, I
the
can't
beat
imagine
so
two
they don't
people
get
sat there
stabbed.
and let them be
Yeah,
punched
it's
unless they
kidnapping.
were being
That
intimidated
would
with
be
a
an
knife.
outside state
But
charge.
was this referred to an outside court?
I
Because-
don't remember, don't think it
What,
was.
I don't
what
know.
was
I
the
didn't-
Thomas number, Dale?
No, give it.
64607. Okay.
Yeah,
What is it, 646?
070.
07,
And
Yeah,
it looks like they broke it off into two incidents. One ending 8125 and one ending 8120. One is an ASO and one is a PDW. Do you have the PDW or the ASO?
no, I got the ASO.
You have the ASO.
I think that might have handled it if the P.
No, I got the 8120, I got the other.
Okay, you have the 8120
Yeah.
and they only took 12 months.
Yeah.
So did they take 12 for the knife and so that's 24 months? Would
No.
be 24.
It's 8120, not 8125.
No, I got 81. What she said, 8120.
I know, that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's 8120.
8120 is this number.
And so, and that's the Thomas number that you just said?
Yes, sir.
Park was 64607?
64607.
Okay, and that's the,
8120 and 812. 8120 is the ASO,
ASO.
8125 is the
Okay.
PDW. But
So six,
in either
seven,
way,
12 and 12. Did
12
they
and
take
12.
12
One,
with the
six,
knife?
seven, eight, one,
wouldn't you
two,
have
oh.
taken that
Yeah,
if
it's
you done
mine.
that to just one
You sure?
person?
Yeah.
Did it to
What
two.
was yours?
No.
221? So
I
I
mean, I'd
got
take
the,
I'm
24
saying-
for each
I got the
step.
PDW.
Frankly, I've written it as separate.
You've done it
One,
12.
you
you've
assaulted
done one.
this staff
No, no,
member.
it's the same.
Two,
Same
you
thing.
assaulted this staff
To
member.
Mary's point,
You
I
should
have
have
the
two
other one.
ASOs.
okay, you had 8125.
No, I had 120.
We both had it. He had part of it, I had part of it. Is that right?
Can't be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't be right. That's what I'm trying.
No, they
What's the
wrote
Thomas
it as
number?
two separate incidents
Yeah.
for the same event. One for the.
But that's what I'm
for the
asking,
weapon.
but they can't, but both board members couldn't have gotten the 8120.
No, one has 20 and one has 25.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who's got
Well,
20,
I
who's got
printed- I
25?
printed the wrong one and I
My
printed 20.
chair has 20
Yes,
and Carr
Mike.
has 25.
Well, I had
So you
25, I printed the wrong one.
Figure out first. He had the assault.
Okay,
I knew it, sir.
That's
okay, so
But
you
at
have
the
20
end of the day-
and Dale has 25.
I printed the wrong one when I printed.
Okay, all right. Well, it's just because when we filled out the action form, we
Exactly.
want it to be right.
Exactly.
So you have 20, you have 25. Okay.
And on mine, the sanction was 12.
Yeah.
We had one previous class A.
So did you get to 12? Okay.
Yeah, because you, on yours, it was 12.
Okay.
So that's 24 for that.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm not comfortable with two staff members being held hostage and assaulted,
Should have been
and
fixed. That-
24 is it. So I would like to move that it's 24 for each of those staff
You'd like
members.
to move on his case?
No, it'd be
I don't
the
know how we
assault.
wait
You have
that.
the assault, or does he have the assault?
I have the assault.
On the assault.
Okay, all right. And
You have the PDW.
Yeah, I just printed the wrong one.
It's okay.
You want 48. So we're trying to get that.
I want 24 for each staff member.
But it's not written out separately though, Mary.
Okay, well, then I want 48. Notice at the bottom of
We won't do,
the
I don't know if we
matrix,
go to 24 on.
at the bottom of the matrix, it
That's going to
says,
get somebody for the position.
let's go to what the matrix says. The very last note.
I
The
understand.
imposition of a harsher penalty shall be sustained only if the offense involved a death, assault, or injury to an employee, volunteer, visitor, or if justified in the disciplinary committee's findings by overwhelming and substantial reason.
So Dr. Corpus, they want 48
48 months, so 24 for both.
each.
Is that your motion?
24 for 8120.
Yep.
And 24 for 8125. Because he used the weapon in the commission of hostage taking and beating of two staff members.
But that would change yours, Mike, right?
Both of them.
Yes, I'm suggesting a change to both of them.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, then that's the motion. I mean, we need a second.
I would second.
Okay, seconded. So let's discuss it then, if there's any further discussion. So Dr. Corpus is asking for one of Dale's and one of Mike's to be changed from 12 on both to 24 for a total of 48 months removed credit for the one incident. But
Years in.
And again,
Yeah, it is a
Or I'm
PD
okay if you want to leave 12 on the weapon, but put 36 on the
On the
gravity
assault.
of the assault on two staff.
and again, we're not giving this man extra time to serve. We're taking away good credit.
Good credits if he has them right. And then-
Yeah.
He has no good credit.
But when you go back, which
That's
we
okay,
are, which
extend
we
his-
have the ability to go back 5 years, right?
There you go.
I would,
you're still discussing? Oh,
I didn't mean that. I wasn't present.
okay.
I would make a motion. I would like that we got.
There's a motion on the
Oh,
floor.
okay, I was just
So we're
gonna
just
amend
discussing.
it.
We're discussing it.
Oh, okay,
So before
okay.
we.
I can see 24 and 12, if that's what we want to do. Can we do that?
Well, I mean, this, discuss it.
That's my opinion. I just,
Okay.
we're taking a PDW that is not up to 24 months, but, and I understand Mary's, I mean, we have that discretion. Personally, I was fine with 12 and 12, which does 24, which is the one, I mean, it's 24 months of good time, which is 2 years.
This inmate doesn't have any good time, but I think there's a point where we have to factor in the nature
Yeah.
of what took place. I mean, if this was in the free world, if you will, so they kidnapping,
Yeah.
aggravated assault,
Right.
you holding someone against their will. He doesn't have a lot of priors, so he would be. He made it count. I believe it's in the best interest and it behooves us as a board and the state and the safety of Tennesseans to not harp on the outcome, but focus on the action. The outcome of his time or if it's extended, if it's an outside charge, he has to live with his iniquity. This was intense. We have to look at that and what that does to his future, his or her. I think that's out of our pay rate. So it's above our pay rate, excuse me. But yeah, this could be an outside state case. So wherever you guys want to go, I think this individual is extremely troubled and whatever pushed them over the edge. And with all due respect to those correction officers, thank them for their service. It's a blessing that it took place inside. He was somewhat contained. So, I mean, at 48, there's no, and I'm gonna land right here. There's no good time to take. So it is an extended sentence. That's the nature of this business we're in.
Just for an aside, because we've used this term extended sentence. So what does that term mean?
I just borrowed it from this side of the world.
Yeah, and that's what I'm concerned about is we keep hearing this phrase, but I'm not sure we have an understanding of what happens when there's no sentence credits to take. And the phrase, well, their sentence gets extended. What do board members think that means?
By their policy, the policy says that if the disciplinary board takes away more time than the offender has accumulated, then they will go into a negative and it will show up on sentence attributes and then the sentence in the back pages. It will go into a sentence extension. The maximum sentence extension that any inmate can have is 5 years. They can build up to 5 years. Although I've seen some that actually are showing that they're already 6 years into the whole 5 years by the statute, as long as the warden or commissioner can extend the sentence for circumstances either from going into negative good time or if there's a bad assault, like 2 months ago we had an assault at Northwest Corrections in Lake County, and the warden there automatically did a 5-year sentence extension. I mean, that's how their term shows that they were going to negative numbers.
Dr. Cross, that's my understanding of sentence extension as well.
So I know we've asked for over a year for the Department of Corrections to give us their sentence manual that's used for sentence credits division. And the only one that they provided to us is from 2021. We don't have a more recent one, but here's what that manual says. If the offender has not earned the amount of credits to be removed, and just for reference, I'm on page 138 under heading credit removals and red extensions, RED, which is release eligibility date. If the offender has not earned the amount of credits to be removed, an offense was committed on or after October 15th, 1997, the red date should be extended on LSTQ by the number of days that could not be removed on every case that would now be earning credit. So that begs the question, what is the red date? So the red date is the release eligibility date, which controls when they can appear on the parole board docket. It in no way affects their judicially imposed sentence expiration date. Those are two very different things. There are some cases where an extension can formally be assigned to an offender, and it in fact goes past their judiciary date. But in terms of how they manage sentence credits, or at least for the document they provided to us, it says all they're doing is pushing out their red date, however many days that is. That's what they mean by that extension. And the red date in no way affects their judiciary expiration date. It merely controls when's your first available time to get on the parole board docket. So that's the worst thing that's happening to them, is it's going to be longer before they can get in front of the parole board. So that was my concern, because I keep hearing this phrase, and it sounds like what we're really doing is extending the time until they can get out, or time past something. That's not really what we're doing. We're affecting, if they don't have any sentence credits, according to their own manual, we're just affecting their release eligibility date for when they can get on the parole docket.
Right, and I agree with that, but on the truth in sentencing, like, this Adams here is doing a 10-year, 100% sentence. So he's not eligible until 10 years. And I've seen, like, it was a Memphis inmate that had a 20-year sentence that ended up doing 25 years because it was 20 years at 100%. Then he had a 5-year extension. But yes, if it was a 35% sentence, 10 years, 35%, the red date makes a difference there.
Right. So I've been kind of laboring under the assumption, until I kind of dug into it, oh, we're actually extending their sentence. But in most cases, just because they don't have any sentence credits, that doesn't mean we're actually extending their sentence. It just means they don't have any sentence credits yet. But if they earn some, it's like anything, you're going to have to work off that balance.
Which
Before
is
you can get on the docket for parole.
a good point, I think, because it sort of goes to what's the impact of the decision we make. But we still have the motion on the floor about how we want to treat 8120 and 8125. So I've heard from Mr. Frank suggest that maybe reducing the 24 on 8120 or 8125 to 12, and then keeping the 24 on the other one. But the motion is 24 and 24. So
I would like to stay consistent, that we keep adding different offenses that we can go up to 24 months. I understand the 24 months on the assault for sure. If we can split those, is that splittable, Jerry, do you think?
well, it's not really a question for Jerry.
Because
There's a motion.
Yeah, it's Mary's motion.
well, no, here's my point, is the
24 months in age.
Well, I'm willing to amend it to 12 on the weapon, 36 on the assault. Because short of killing them
Second.
or sending them to the
Call the
hospital.
question.
Okay, no question.
Okay, so the amendment now is that we're doing 12 months on, is the
On the
assault,
weapon.
is the weapon is 8120?
I'll reflect that on my side.
Weapon is
Okay.
25.
The weapon is 8125 and 36 on 8120, 8120. It's been moved, it's been seconded, it's been called.
I have a question.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Jim.
By the matrix, can we go up 36? 24 is the maximum addition on the new matrix on the incidents.
Well, and that's the note at the bottom of the new matrix that I read, that
Yeah, the
you can
overwhelming
impose an even
circumstances.
harsher penalty.
But that's a question that we've imposed to, or I imposed to TDOC on the riots at Trisdale and never got response back. Because on their riot cases, they were all over the board. And I was wanting to, to stay with them. And there's nothing to substantiate it. And when it got back to central office, they dropped them to the minimum.
So do 24.
Instead of the high.
Minute back at 24. Minute back at 24.
Well, but just we've agreed to compare what they've done with their matrix. But even their own matrix gives the ability to do something other than.
But we give time back too, because we don't take that into consideration when you're giving your time back.
Well, but not,
What's, it's
I
been,
wouldn't give time back on a case like that, but
well, the
if you
question,
wanna-
the question has been called. So here's what I think. If you don't agree with the motion because there's confusion as to whether the matrix allows for it, then just vote against the motion. And then we can discuss that. But the motion as it stands right now is 36 and 12.
So I understood it as 24 and 12. It's 36 and 12?
The,
Yeah.
Dr. Carpos
You
brought,
said 24 and
no,
12.
no, I'm saying 48 was the total. And so we were talking 24 and 24 being 48. And if the weapon's going to be 12, then the other would be 36. I guess that maybe this tests the water. Is the board uncomfortable or comfortable with doing something that isn't on TDOC's matrix? If you're not comfortable with that, and that's fine. My conscience is that 2 staff members got beat. And that 24 months for 1 staff member, I might have felt flexible enough there, but you beat 2 staff members. It doesn't matter to me that it's 1 incident. You beat 2 staff members and threatened their lives, held them hostage. And to say, well, listen, there could have been 6 in the room, but we're only taking 24. I'm not personally comfortable with that. And so for me, that's my conscience, but whatever.
so the motion
majority
is still
decides.
36 and 12.
36. and
Okay,
12.
now, Mr. Sheeran, you actually seconded that amendment. Are you,
I thought I heard Dr. Carpos to say.
okay, do you still want to be a second?
24 on 1 and 12 on the other.
Do you still want to serve as the second for
No.
that motion? Okay, so I still need a second for that amended motion.
I'll second.
Okay, second. I think we've discussed it and I think we've heard a lot, which is great. So I'd like to do a roll call vote on that motion. Let's start with the chairman. Sir, yay or nay on the 36 and 12 motion?
Nay.
Okay, Mr. Lee?
Frank?
I'm sorry, Mr. Frank?
No.
Okay, Mr. Lindsay?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Sharon?
No,
Okay, Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Carpos, I'm
Yes.
assuming yes. Mr. Dunn, I'm assuming yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Wiseman?
Yes, sir. My vote is no. Nay.
And Ms. Doyle? Yay or nay
Nay.
on that motion?
Nay,
I'm sorry? Nay.
nay.
Okay, the motion does not pass. Okay, so I appreciate that, and I think it begs, it's a really, really good discussion from a couple of different angles. And I'd like to, we got to get through our docket today and talk about these cases, but, maybe we can get together again and talk about a couple of different things that this sort of exposes, one of which is Dr. Carbos's point about TDOC has its matrix, but what flexibility do we have outside of that? It also begs the question, are we limiting ourselves to 24 months? And it also begs the question, what do we want to do in these complicated situations as a whole? So really, really good questions. I think we'll talk more about that later. Okay. Yeah.
You just answered it.
Okay.
You said later.
I think we will move back to that. But so we are still on Mr. Carr's docket. So
Really quick, in my docket, the last one that I have that I wanted to bring forth was,
well, just before we move on, so are we doing anything with 8125?
Any other time arrangements?
Yeah, because you originally wanted to go from 12 to 24, but then we had the motion where we talked about 8125 and 8120 combining it. So do you still want to ask the board to move 8125 from 12 to 24 months?
yes.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay.
What, can you
I'll
make
make a motion that we move it from 12 to 24 months on 8125.
on 8125, which is the knife or the assault?
That's the night.
That's the knife. Okay. Do I have a second on this? Okay, seconded. So essentially, this all began with Mr. Carr's presentation of an incident where there was an attack. It was, the issue was the weapon. The board decided, the D board decided on 12 months, but because of the severity of it, he's moving to add 12 months to that, creating 24 months. Any further discussion on that?
I'd like to make an amendment on that. By policy, if two offenses occur at the same time on the same day, the sentence should be the same in two. So if it's going to be 24 on the weapon, it should be 24 on the assault. So I would amend that it be 24.
Okay. And is that what it was on the assault? You have the assault, Mike. So what was the D board's decision on the assault? 12 months. So
Same as what is.
So did you hear what the chairman was talking about? So can you talk about that again?
Yeah.
Real quickly?
By policy, if two incidents occur on the same day at the same time, the two incidents should receive the same punishment. So, which y'all had 12 and
Yes.
12, if it's going to be both, they should be 24 and 20.
Plan to do that when we get to that.
Okay, so then
That's what we were
that,
discussing. So
then that would solve that issue. So any other discussion on that motion?
I was just gonna say, I can agree with that.
Okay.
Now that I look at it, these are extenuating circumstances.
I would
Could
second
solve
this
it.
amendment. And also,
Well, it's not really an amendment because Mr. Sharon's going to do it on his, and it's going to end up matching.
he mentioned the amendment, so if you withdraw that, then
Oh,
yeah.
we're good.
Okay,
Okay, very good.
okay,
what were you gonna say?
Nothing, man.
okay. So let's take a quick vote on Mr. Carr's motion to move 8125 from 12 to 24 months. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, passed unanimously. Thanks. I just wanted to clarify that for the purpose of the action form, so I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, but this is the first time I've ever run into some of this stuff.
No. This, don't apologize. This is great.
Okay, the next incident I've got is, from, Poundville.
Is this another one that's not on the sheet?
No, it's on the sheet. It's
Which one is it?
1675822.
Okay.
And what this was, real quick, was, well, I'll just read it to you. Approximately 14 or 9 hours while correctional officer was allowing inmates back into their assigned pods, this guy offender approached Officer Griffin from the back, striking him with a homemade weapon. Officer Griffin attempted to escape this attack when the inmate strikes him with a closed fist. Officer Griffin falls to the ground, and both of these offenders are striking with weapons and closed hands, and strikes the correctional officer, and the stands and flees the incident, exiting out of the housing unit front door. Senior officer and officer needs assistant code. Responders went to the medical personnel arrival on the scene, and Officer Griffin is escorted to med responders enter Bravo and retrieve both of the offenders and place them in the restraints. Once the restraints, both were escorted to the medical department for evaluation. Upon completion of evaluation, pat search was conducted on both inmates. And during the pat search, a 7.5 inch homemade weapon was retrieved from inmate Blum in his waistline. Both inmates were then escorted to restricted housing pending disciplinary hearing for assault on staff with a weapon. And what I done on that one is the fact that the first offender was only given 12 months, which was not okay. The second was given 24 months, which was okay. So I was going to go with the first offender and go up to 24 months on that one. So it'd be 24 months on both of them. On that. That's on my,
So that's what the sheet reflects already.
that's what the sheet reflects. I just wanted to bring that up so everybody know what was one of them doing, okay?
Okay.
But it reflects that on my sheet, okay? And then real quick, if it's okay with this, that's already on my sheet.
Yeah.
That's what we're voting on. Then on my credits, I've taken away the 21 credits. I give back to these offenders here, and everything should be okay on that. But I was made aware that at Northeast at 167-6878 had already given back the 4 credits, according to what the chairman says. Is that right, Chairman?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And in Whiteville at 167-6845, let me find it for you. Well, I don't have that 167-6845.
It's the next class one.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, I had given back 4, but they'd already given back 3.
They dropped it.
Yeah, so I'm good with that. We'll just let those go then.
So I'm gonna cross those off.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Okay,
I'll shut up now.
any other discussion on, yes, Dr. Carpos?
About that incident,
Which one?
the one he just dropped, where 2 offenders.
Yeah.
Attacked
Yes.
an officer. This officer was stabbed and sent to an outside hospital. 2 offenders stabbed.
I took 24 months off. Well, one of them only had 12 months, the other had
Do you
24.
have an ASW?
Yeah.
It's an ASW
Mhm.
Yeah,
for 24 months?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say again, I really don't feel comfortable that 2 offenders could stab an officer and stab him so severely, he went to an outside hospital. And 24 months is enough. And so my motion would be that, really, the last one to me was bad enough. And I said, short of killing him, well, this doesn't get too far short of killing him. When 2 offenders stab an officer and send him to the hospital. For me, I really do feel like it fits the note and that we do have to go off the matrix. And it says what does it say? What's that note? Involve death, assault, or injury to an employee. This is a very serious injury. 2 people stabbed him.
So is there a motion or?
Yes, for me, at a minimum 36 months, removal and definite referral for attempted murder
Well,
to outside.
do we know if it was
DA.
referred to the DA's office?
I have one.
I would hope.
I would hope that we do.
There's 2 cases.
This was 167-5822.
So essentially the motion would be to, Dale is Mr. Carr is recommending that we increase the decision by 12 months.
I would
The
increase it
motion
by
by 24
24 months.
months.
I
Okay,
think it was such a severe attack.
okay. Okay, so that's the motion. Need a second for it to progress?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is the same situation. I have a serious problem going outside of the matrix out of 24.
Okay.
Because once we go outside of the matrix, then there is no matrix. We can do what we feel we want to. And I think we need to stay within TEOC's matrix. That's my opinion.
May I add to
Because
that?
where does this lead when we go down this path? That's me.
May I add to that point? This is part of the matrix because they put that line on there. That's their idea. It's their writing, that's their policy. So we're not going against their policy when they wrote it. And
Then we could give them 10 years or 20. I
that's
mean,
what
where do we stop? We
Their
have
policy
36,
left it open-ended.
48, 60.
their policy left it open-ended for unique cases like this. And I'm sure that officer appreciates the extra time.
Isn't that what the 5-year extension is for from the warden and what's outside? Plus, you know, the courts are for.
Well, but just thinking about
I mean, it's a terrible
public
case, don't get
safety.
me wrong.
No, just thinking about public safety, I would say that this person has indicated that they seriously are not going to be safe in a public setting. If in a secure setting, they would do something like this, what would make you think in an unsecure and unregulated setting, they wouldn't do this and more? And so with the board's authority to ensure that dangerous criminals are not being released any sooner than necessary, and in fact, that sentence credits are being awarded to those people who are actually making their way toward having an earlier release. You know, it's like there's two tracks here. There are people who are making their way toward an earlier release by doing the right thing, and they're getting sentence credits, and people who are getting sentence credits and then doing the wrong thing, saying, hey, I'm really not ready to get out, but we're letting them keep whatever sentence credits. So they're getting out early as well. To me, there have to be at least 3 tracks, and one of those tracks is a dead-end track that says you really need to serve all your sentence. What your behavior by attempting to stab, I don't think they were doing it because they had any intent other than to kill him. Maybe not. Maybe they just wanted to scare him. But either way, they sent him to the hospital too by stabbing him. And if you're willing to do that, then I don't see a pathway of allowing you to retain any days that would let you get out one day earlier so that you can do that to some family on the streets.
Just as an aside, part of the motion is to refer to the outside DA. Our chairman looked it up and has not been referred, just so people know. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, let's move to a vote. If it's close, I'll do a roll call vote, but let's try it just by verbally. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay.
Aye.
Okay, it sounds like I've got 4 in the room, ayes, 3 nays. So let's go to our virtual participants. Ms. Wiseman, how do you vote?
I'm sorry. I'm transitioning to the car. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Did you hear that discussion?
Yes, I think I'm going to abstain because I'm having trouble following all this.
Okay, Ms. Doyle?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes. So we are going to move that sentence credit adjudication from the proposed 12 months to 24 months plus a referral to the outside DAs.
Well, no. He wanted it to be 24. I'm asking for it to be 36.
No, I understand. He was adding 12.
Oh, so you're saying.
So I'm adding 24.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. I misunderstood.
Yeah, I just think in terms of the action forms, the way we write it down. So it will end up being 36, but they've already got 12 down, so we're adding 24. Yes, sir. Well, actually, is there any more discussion on Mr. Carr's? Yeah.
Well, actually there is because there were 2 assailants. And the other assailant got 24. And
Do we know who's got the other one?
one is inmate 511242. Is that yours?
Yeah, that 511242's.
Okay, so whoever has,
You what?
well, no, you should have both of them because he should have both.
If you got that incident.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I got
So the other offender, and we can go offline for what that Thomas number would be.
Could be 24 months.
24 months.
He's got 24, but I would make a motion that,
Just make them both alike. I mean.
yes, that they're alike.
Yeah.
That they both end up with a 36.
I'll second that.
But that one's not on your docket because.
Yeah,
we
that's not on
already
the
had
docket,
24.
yeah,
So
so-
can we do an amendment maybe
Yeah,
next
sure.
meeting or something?
Sure.
Yeah. You'll never make me-
So I'll just hold my motion for next.
Clarity,
meeting.
executive.
You can add it to the document.
Yeah, we got-
Do you want to add it?
Yeah, add it now. Just go ahead and make it.
Yeah, what's that Thomas number? The second guy?
Here you go, Lee.
533,
Sir?
529.
Okay, and the other information will be the same. So we're just, it was the same for him. The board decided on 12
No,
and
they decided on 24 for him.
they decided on 24 for him. So we're adding 12 to his.
Right.
Right. Sorry, folks, that's oddballs from this week, this month, okay?
Well, actually, Mr. Carr, if we could stay on you for a second, there was a couple that caught my eye. At Morgan County, I think it's the fourth one from the top. It was an ASO and the D board had 0 months. And you're recommending 24 months on that one?
Fourth one down.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and my question is not so much to you as to why, in your opinion, would the D board recommend 0 month removal?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at that one. I didn't catch that.
It just sort of caught my eye because it seems insane. I don't want to call it insane. It seems surprising that they would go with the 0 month option when you found it significant enough to go with 24 months. So, just curious if you want to talk about that one a little bit, but we don't have to. My other question was, there are a number of recommendations that you make where the D board has reduced the Class A offense to a Class B offense. And so we're moving those back to a Class A and we're assigning a 12-month reduction in credit to all of those. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the bottom two of those, there was one prior and the other two had 0 priors, but you want them all to get 12.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if this is in form of a motion, and I understand what Dale did on that. I think this is a highly small amount of cases that we're going to see where B is taken back to an A. I understand what you did here.
Yeah.
I just would caution members to, on INTs, if we're taking everything back to A's
Right.
or very minor drug situations where they drop it to a B. I just hope we can use this sparingly when it's really necessary, like his case. I don't know if everybody knows his case, but they were it was a whole operation bringing drugs into the prison and then distributing it through the prison. I don't know why it was dropped from an A to a B because it was they were bringing large amounts of drugs into the prison and it was dropped to a B. But and I would also like to ask if we do that notate it like Dale did to where we can know, okay, this was a B, because when I'm checking, I'm like, what's going on here? And it would be good to like he did is perfect. It was a B, took it back to an A. I would just urge the board members to do that.
I will watch that closely next time, okay? Very, that is very,
The case that was dropped and no credit was dropped.
Wait, the ASL was?
Yeah.
not the one we're talking about here. The one I read, is we done that.
The ASL was dropped to a B.
We had those.
Wow.
Yeah.
167, 78, 40.
I did.
840, yeah.
One he's talking about.
It's possible. Guidelines.
Yeah, you can have a B.
So Mr. Carr, that the case that I asked about at Morgan, the ASO that 0 credits were withdrawn on and you're recommending 24 months,
Yes, sir.
it was reduced to a B for some reason. So we would be moving that back to an A and.
I'm at the will of the board. If they wanted to change that, that's fine. I mean,
He has no priors. The last prior was at 23.
Well, it's got on the sheet that he's got 1 prior.
yes, I thought he had one prior on that. Maybe I was wrong on that.
What's the actual assault? It's a description.
Yeah, so
Yeah, what is the?
It's the ASO.
What is the assault?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Offender was outside triage room in center core of building 21, speaking with nurse practitioner. blah, when offender blah, became loud, aggressive, did spit into the face of nurse practitioner. At this time, the unit manager, his name, did place offender on the ground to regain control. The offender continued to actively and physically resist unit manager, attempted to place him in restraints. Offender bit unit manager twice, once on the left forearm, once in the center abdomen. Both bites broke the skin, causing minor injury. Sergeant so-and-so arrived on the scene and assisted the unit manager in restraining the offender, who was then taken to high security. And it says he was written for a disciplinary assault on staff without weapon.
Yeah, ASO is assault on the officer,
Officer assault without weapon. So bid,
but be it done, which I guess it's, I thought when I was looking at it, I considered it a weapon because if you bite somebody, you can get infected or anything. I mean, it's crazy. Skin.
So we'd be voting on, you're keeping your recommendation to
I'm keeping my.
move it to a class, move it to an A and remove 24 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if there's no further discussion on Mr. Carr's docket, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the docket. Motion made.
I have a question.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize. It's just harder to follow it. And now I'm in the car, but did I hear you say we're moving something from a B to an A?
Yes. So it was
How-
originally, a Class A. The disciplinary board reduced it to a Class B, and the board members asking for us to reclassify it as an A and remove time.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that under the statute. I mean, obviously the statute doesn't address that. It's vague, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure that is legal.
Yeah, I mean, that it's sort of an open question. So, but that's why I want to talk about it quickly. And I mean, we're voting on the docket as a whole. So, unless you'd like to move for cases that have been reduced to a B, outside of the docket so that we can further consider them, we're just going to vote on the docket as a whole. And it would just be a nay vote on the docket,
When does our general counsel start?
the 25th. So not next week, but the week after.
5 days.
Does anybody
Well,
else think that might be a problem?
well, we have the precedent
Yes.
set by Chairman Bassfinder at an earlier meeting several months ago, where he made a motion for a B to be restored to an A. So the board has made that decision previously.
Did you hear that, Ms. Wise?
I did, and I guess I missed that.
Yeah, I
Because
don't remember that.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, that went over my head. But I mean, if the only recourse is to vote against the doc, I understand what you're saying. Just as a
Well, the other
attorney
recourse
who
would be,
doesn't practice anymore, seems like a problem to me.
well, I mean, another possible recourse would be to make a motion to remove those incidents from the vote at this time. And we don't have to vote on the docket as a whole, but that as the motion stands right now, the docket is being voted on as a whole.
Well, I would make
So-
a motion to remove those incidents and await our general counsel if it is that imminent.
Okay, so we've got Mr. Carr's motion on the floor. Do you want to?
I'll withdraw my
We
motion.
withdraw that motion. So now we have Ms. Wiseman's motion on the floor that we would remove any incidents that have been reduced by a B until further consideration and opinion by council, and then reinstate them for a full vote.
And I will state, I'm sorry to interrupt, we want counsel ASAP.
Well, he starts on the 25th.
Oh, okay,
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 so
so, yeah, I would
so-
think this would be the first thing.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. We've got a start date for him. He couldn't start any earlier.
I missed that, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, to your point, I've noticed an increase in July. I think everyone has. I think I had 16 that were reduced to Bs
Yeah.
in June, so far 33 in July. So I hope he's right, because I'll go back and look at all 33. Actually, I'll look at all.
And maybe that's
49
where,
of them.
I'm sorry, maybe that's where they're getting around today. Classify A as a drop back to B.
I had 20 of them.
You see, I mean, never mind.
33 is a lot.
Motion's on the floor. I'm sorry.
Yes, so Ms.
Seconded.
Okay, I'm sorry,
I
seconded.
think we need clarification because Dale has 4 other. Do we need to pull those?
She made the motion to pull them off.
to pull your four CBSs
till we get-
and then this one. Okay, that's good. I agree with that. I
Yeah, so
think we
we've
need.
identified the 4 CDSs and 1 ASO that we'd be pulling out. So 5 total incidents that we'd be
Are
pulling
you
out.
okay with that, Dan?
Yeah, I'm okay with it if I can,
But, well,
we can go back and visit at another time.
well, sure, they won't fall off. We're waiting for a further opinion on it.
So just put those as pending.
Yeah, we'll move them back to pending. So that's the motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any
Discussion?
discussion on it?
So does this mean that we're going to go back and revisit Chairman Bassbinder's earlier?
Dr. Carpos, I don't know. Ask everybody. I mean, the motion is that we remove, it's not the motion, there's not a motion that we go back in time. The motion is that we remove these 5 incidents from the docket. Now, if we want to make another motion to go back and look at previous ones, we can do that. But that's, unless you want to make an amendment, you want to make an amendment to this motion that says we're going to go back and, I mean, but that's,
Well, just for consistency.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, I mean, do you want to make that amendment?
If Mrs. Wiseman would be open to that, if we're not going to take a step forward with these Bs, would you be open to also, pulling back any other Bs that have been on previous dockets?
That have been changed to that.
I think you need clarification before we leave. Yeah.
And I will say that we may have did we send action forms on those already? We would have already sent action forms on them. So if we revisit them, then we'd have to redo the action form. So that's just a consideration. I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying we would have already taken action on those. So,
This is on me, okay? I mean, her motion is to remove all these Bs, which I understand it, but I think that we should put in that motion that these Bs here are still pending, subject to council.
yes, 100%, 100%. I think that's part of the motion.
Yeah.
But
Subject to council.
I think Dr. Carpos is asking about retroactive or previous incidents in which
That's a
we've
whole,
made that.
I mean, I'm gonna ask her if it's.
Do we want it, Ms. Wiseman, do you want to attach an amendment to your motion that directs the board to go back and relook at ones that may have been changed?
No.
Okay, so the motion still stands as simply looking at Mr. Carr's docket, removing the 5 we've identified as being reduced to Bs, and keeping those as pending until we can have council
Okay.
look at it, discuss it, offer an opinion on it.
I would say, hopefully our council will say, absolutely, you can do that. And then we bring these right back and then we'll know we can do this in the future. So
Okay,
I'm in favor of Ms. Wiseman's motion.
okay. But any other discussion? Okay, let's move to a vote on it. I'll do a verbal vote unless we feel like we need to do a roll call. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Mr. Carr, now, if you'd like to present a motion to approve the rest of your
I'll make a motion to approve the rest of it, whatever we think.
seconded, any discussion on any other cases from Mr. Carr's docket? Okay, great. So,
Wrong question.
all right, so let's move to a vote on the rest of the docket. All in favor of approving the docket minus those 5 incidents, plus the changes that we've added. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Carr. Really appreciate it. I think that helps us move forward in a lot of different ways. Okay, that did take a little bit of time. Does anyone need a break? Okay, let's move on to our next board member and his docket, Mr. Lindsay.
Yeah, I promise. We won't stick around like Dale did. I usually don't tell this bad guys, but I lost my voice.
And let me just say, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I want to pile on. This is a good thing. I mean, we're answering a lot of questions here, and I appreciate the fact that Dale has created a docket that shows the effort that he's putting into reviewing these cases and identifying these things. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. So I know we don't usually take that long on all of our dockets, but at the end of the day, it's a good thing. So Dale, Mr. Carr, I do appreciate all the work you've done on your docket.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Lindsay.
No, you're fine. Good work, Mr. Carr. Okay, here we go. Deported to the total of 36 months. I restored 23 for those months and added 336 months, all within the statute, the matrix, excuse me. And I want to jump to what Lee and I was speaking of. What we are seeing, and I want to get the board's discussion on this, director, is the verbal reprimand get warning. They're giving them a verbal warning, but they're keeping it at a class A. And what I want to hear from the board is, if it was so minute that you gave a warning, should it be a class A offense that I'm gonna stick with the matrix to take time away from this person? So I have a few of them that are verbal warnings, but they're still class A's, taking a guy or a young lady up to 4 or 5, put them at 9 to 12 months. So
On an INT.
on INT, so it's just like someone's on the phone, you call lockdown, they didn't hang up right away. You gave them a warning, but it was a class A. As the board, how are we looking at those? I mean, I put not okay, took time away just by the matrix standpoint, but I guess it's the question of TDOC. If the correction officer didn't feel that it was just a warning, should they even been written up?
Do we have those identified on there?
Yeah,
Those converted to Bs?
they're still A's. That's why.
What his rap sheet looks like is you go back to it and it's blank.
And I
It
don't
doesn't
even,
have A,
but do you know
B,
how
or
many,
C on
like
it.
we're talking about, like?
Oh,
the
we're
verbal
talking,
warnings?
I think 4.
Four.
It was 4. It was 4. They were at West Tennessee,
Okay.
all at West Tennessee. There were 4. And then when you go look at their priors, they don't have the C, B, or A. So they have an A, it's a verbal reprimand, I gave them a warning, verbal warning, and it puts them at a 5th A. So you
No,
got
no, it's in Northeast.
Northeast. So,
Yeah, Northeast.
so we don't have any at West Tennessee when we looked up.
Those were some that you just, the count is wrong. The INTs are in
The
Northeast.
INT, excuse me, the INTs were Northeast.
Okay.
So I agree, I thought they should have been Bs, but they were warnings that gave class As, and it's taking time away. So as a board, how do we respond to those verbal warnings?
Are they considered priors?
Yeah.
Do other people count verbal warnings that remain class A's as priors for future infractions?
Yes, if it's an
By
A.
policy, it is the A if there's a future.
Okay, so there you go.
So with that being said, to get back there, director and board members, given that information, I mean, it's an A, added 336 months, restored 23 months. And
So that's how you originally calculated it. You considered that.
Yes.
Just get clarification.
yes, sir. I was getting clarification. So again, with that being said, 336 months again added, and restored 23 months back to inmates.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
And you may not know, do you know if any of these were reduced to Bs and you're asking them to be replaced?
None was reduced to Bs, all were As, given our last meeting. And this is not to bring Dale's packet back up, that we weren't looking at those.
Okay.
So that we would.
Okay, great.
All of mine are As.
That makes it easy. That makes it
All are
easy.
As.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
all right. We have a motion seconded. Any discussion, any question about any of Mr. Lindsay's case, instance? Before we move to a vote? Okay, all right, let's move to a vote on the entirety of the docket. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. All right, well, let's keep it moving. Mr. Frank, I believe your docket is next, sir.
Oh, I am. Okay, I thought it was Terry. Okay. This will be short. Let's see. I took an additional 62 months. I guess I would say I added 62 months onto the D board, which is in yellow there. You can see. I need to correct what I did, and this is what I'm doing, is before I'm sending them in, especially on the ones you're giving back time, by that time, Nashville Central Office is going in. So I had to change some of mine from what I saw originally. 2 weeks later, they've gotten a hold of it and they're reducing. I think Dale had that situation as well. So on Bledsoe, the very first one, the DSO 622866, I did send this in Michael and I got our numbers crossed here.
These are the restore, you're on your restored credit.
I'm on the restore.
Okay.
The top is perfectly fine.
Okay.
The first one is totally taken off.
Okay.
They reduced that to 8, which put it in the matrix.
Okay.
The second one in Bledsoe, 1678250, they reduced that to 8. They still didn't get it right, but they took it to 8. And so instead of reducing it by 8, I reduced it by 4. So it would go, they were 8 to 4, but really it should have been, they did 8, but the matrix says 4.
So you're asking to restore another 4?
I'm asking instead of that to say 12 and 4 in my blue,
Yeah.
to say 8 and 4. And
Okay.
instead of -8 giving back, I'm only giving back 4.
Okay.
Okay. MCCX, that one is taken away. The 5 to 4. The WHK, they corrected that one. And 1, 2, 3 is for the West. And so that leaves, restored back to the inmates 52 months. I took 62 months. The D board took 1,440 months, getting much improved. So I would like to compliment them on that. Still work to go, but much improved. And that is my report.
Okay. Any Bs that we need to consider? Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Frank's docket? Any visits?
Is that correct?
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion made, seconded. Any discussion about the incidents, the dockets? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of approving Mr. Frank's docket in total, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll keep it moving. I feel like we're on a roll. Chairman?
Okay, on my August, meeting, which is gonna be June cases, first page, the D board put away 98 months. I'm adding an additional 116 months, to make it up to the matrix, which brings it up to 214 months. On the giving back credits, you notice there's 2 that are highlighted in yellow. It says pending TDOC decision. That yellow needs to be taken out. The numbers are actually, added in there. Those, I had 27 cases of participating in riot at Tri-Federal and TDOC. We had put in a request to clarify if they can substantiate why some of the cases had higher, numbers. Well, they ended up dropping all of them down to the matrix. So that's what I've done on these 2 is drop them down to the matrix. So the 55 months that was taken away from the D board, there's 23 months that's going to be returned. It drops it to 32 months, credit returned. Those are my June incidents.
Okay. Any questions, Matt Docket? Okay, any Bs? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion, seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the docket in total, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. The only question I'll ask for you, for Mr. Grassline, the chairman, is any trend, anything you're seeing that there's noteworthy for the benefit of the public this past month?
There, as Mr. Carr said, getting a lot more beads. They're dropping a lot more beads. The D boards are getting much better over the time period, but it looks like pretty much everybody's cases are going pretty much on the same trend. I would like to say, after the conversation we had on the IPTs that Dr. Carpos brought up on June cases, I would like to reserve the right to go back and look at my okay cases that I have not changed in here on Whiteville because there are cases that are IPT cases that could be possibly getting their time restored in 15 or 30 days or whatever. I'd like to be able to do that again. So I would like to keep it open that I could bring June cases that I okay earlier to next month's meeting.
Sure, sure. And I think we'll have that, more of that discussion, in the next docket piece. So, but we'll keep that in mind. Just before we move on, I didn't really give the board members who have already presented their dockets a chance to talk about any trends or anything they think is noteworthy for the benefit of the board from the last 30 days. Mr. Carr, Mr. Lindsay.
I would
Frank.
say what Jerry's talking about, Mary brought it up. I think that's an important, another lawyer question. That if this starts and then it's in Whiteville, you know, on what we're trying to do, if they were a year out, maybe I would be okay with that. I don't know. Mary talks about some of them being, what are they, 30 days is usually the IPTs.
It can be 10, some of them are 10 days, some are 30, some are 60.
So I mean, if we're using it to change, I mean, if I saw a 2-year IPT, I would say have at it. If you can behave for 2 years and not have any more write-ups, I mean, that's what we're really trying to get to, is them to make the prison safer, I believe. Changing their lives.
60 is the maximum.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll talk more
Anyway,
about it
it's
because I don't
worth-
think Ms. Wiseman.
It's worth looking
Doyle.
into.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But any other notes or trends that the previous board members want to bring for the board? Just want to give a chance. Okay, great. Okay, okay, Dr. Tarpos, your docket is next, if you'd like to present that.
Right, so I reviewed 271 individuals who were involved in an incident assigned to me in the month of June. 57 of those were dismissed, which is just over 21% were dismissed. And only one of those was dismissed because of a hearing. In our last board meeting, we kind of discussed figuring out why some things were getting dismissed. And that's something, you know, for another day for us to discuss a little bit further. Not okay, 33%, just over 33%, 33.57% were not okay. So on my docket, I've divided my docket into several sections. The first section is the credit removal docket. And here I list the facilities and the incidents and the offense codes along with prior incidents for each of those individuals involved, and what the board determined, and then what my recommendation would be. So one of the trends, well, let me just start with the first case. The first case is at Bledsoe. And this is a case that is coded as an assault on an offender, AOO, which would indicate without weapon. I would note that this actually should be an AOW because the incident says that it was reviewed on video, so it was captured by security video, the attack on the victim, and that the assailant cut the victim's neck with a metal weapon. So I'm not sure why a facility would code that as an AOO when it's written in the body of the incident that they have it on video, that this victim was attacked with a metal weapon and in fact had cut wounds to his neck. It was one of the prior, the board took 4 months from the person. I moved it to 12. And that's only because the cut wounds were not serious cut wounds. They were more superficial in nature. But I do take seriously that any human being is attacked by someone else with a metal object and has their neck cut. Going down a little bit further, if you look at the first Hardeman incident, this is an assault, this time on offender coded as with a weapon. And this was caught on video. And the offender who was the victim, was struck with a weapon in the head and the face area. And Hardeman, D-board, took 5 months, and I moved that to 12 months. I felt that the assault was significant enough to move to 12 months. If you go down to where the first northeast cases start on my docket, all the way down through most of the northwest docket, I would call your attention to the very high number of priors for these people who were before the D board at both northeast and northwest. And that with only one exception, they were all assigned just 9 months. And under the matrix, certainly they could have gone to 12, given the fact that some of these folks had 12, 11, 13, 14 priors. So I adjusted all of those to 12 months in accordance with TDOC's matrix. Moving down to the second case and third case at Riverbend. These are both coded as assaults on offender without weapon. The narrative shows that officer observed 2 inmates assaulting the victim with a 7-inch piece of sharp metal. So once again, I'm unclear why when the body of the narrative is coding these as assaults on offenders without weapons, but there's either eyewitness or video evidence that a weapon in fact was utilized. Going down to the next to the last incident at South Central. It's an ASO, which is an assault on staff without weapon. Person had 2 priors. The D board assessed 5 months. This was an offender who came up to a lieutenant in the chow hall and spit directly in his face. And so I moved it up to 8 months, which is actually within the range of somebody who has 2 priors. And then the second one, or the next one under that at South Central, is an assault with weapon. This person had 1 prior. The D board gave 8 months. I moved it to 24 months, and here's why. The offender that he assaulted with weapon had to be life flighted to Vanderbilt. So this was an incredibly serious assault that was life threatening. And so for that reason, I moved it to 24 months, which added 16 months withdrawal. And then the second case down at Turney is an assault with weapon on an offender. There were no priors, and so they assessed 2 months. I moved it to 9 months. The victim could be seen on video. In the body of the text, it was reported on video. It could be seen that he was not only assaulted with fists, but an ink pen was used to stab him. And so that's why I accelerated it somewhat. So the board took away 210 months. I'm advocating for taking away 333 months, and that would be an additional removal of 123 months. That's my removal docket. Any questions on that docket? If not, I'll move on to what I've labeled as my IPT removal docket. And so here I have a string of cases that occurred at Whiteville. And while the D board entered in, for the most part, in accordance with the TDOC matrix, the removal of sentence credits, they also entered in an IPT flag, which would hold that removal of credits in abeyance dependent upon the person's next behavior. And my reasoning is that I believe that the credit removal should take place not dependent upon what they do next, but in relationship to being a consequence for what they've already done. And so the D board had 488, but 505 of those wouldn't actually be removed because they have that IPT flag. Impose a probated time, just so I'm not using jargon. Just. I do have one other case that I want to call board members' attention to. It's an assault on an offender. is listed, without weapon. And it was an assault, by a person who had 3 priors. The D board, took 24 months, even though that is, with, the high side of the matrix, if you will, for somebody who only has 3 priors. I agreed with them in that, 24 months, because, this involved an officer, and it was captured on video. The officer was struck with closed fist and feet repeatedly to her face and body. She had cuts and bruises to her head, and both of her eyes were blackened, and she was transported to the hospital. And I would entertain a motion to take even more than the 20 months that the D board took because of the serious injuries to the officer and that she was transported to the hospital. So I'll make the motion.
Right, that's what I was
I'll
gonna
be
ask.
glad to make the motion.
Okay,
Our discussion, last board meeting was to try to respect what the D boards are doing. And I admire the fact that they took 24 months, but I really think they should have taken 36 months. And so my motion would be that an additional 12 months be taken from, in accordance with this incident, 1677121. At Whiteville.
Right.
167. 1677121. By the way, they didn't put an IPT flag on this one. So I think there has to be some understanding of what the IPT means, that they withheld the IPT
Sure, it's
from
not
this
automatic.
particular one. So I don't think it's by chance that this long string of cases have an IPT flag inserted to prevent sentence credits from being taken.
So I'm confused, I'm sorry. So you're making a motion on your docket? You want to change your docket that you submitted?
no, she's making a motion to add an incident to her docket that's not on the docket. That, the D board, imposed a 24-month reduction. She'd like to add 12 to make it a 36-month.
Why wasn't on the docket, on your docket?
Because we hadn't had this earlier discussion.
About going outside the matrix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We've had this discussion, and so now
So this
I'm
is,
asking
Okay.
to add this.
So this motion is just for this. We haven't gotten a motion for the rest of the docket, but, so we're entertaining the possibility of adding this incident to the docket and adding 12 months. So that's a 36-month reduction.
Does this case refer to court? Do you have to do?
I don't,
You don't know?
It's not noted,
we haven't,
so
we'd have to look.
they're kind of haphazard and all it's noted.
Which
But
prison was this?
Whitehall.
We know the DAs, from what we've heard, visit, and they have a good relationship.
yeah,
Did you say they did or did not have IPT?
They did not put an IPT flag on this one, which signals to me they clearly understand why they're putting the IPT.
sure.
And they chose, after, dozens and dozens of cases of putting IPT, to not put an IPT on this particular one.
So just kind of highlighting that it's not automatic. There's discretion involved. There's understanding whether it gets marked or not. But I just real quick, I don't have a second yet. Second. Okay, so now we can discuss that motion.
One quick question, was the Thomas number on that subject 655-381?
468-877.
468
877.
877.
What date did that occur?
18th of June.
While the chairman looks up whether that was referred to the DAs, any other discussion on the motion? Okay, was not referred. Not look like it was referred. Okay, okay. Well, if there's no more discussion, well, let's move to a vote on adding that incident and increasing it to a 36-month reduction in time. We'll do it verbally. If it's too close to call, I'll do a roll call. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay.
no,
Okay, heard from a few, but not enough really to make the decision. So let's go ahead and do a roll call. Dr. Carpros, I'm assuming yay.
Yay.
Mr. Carr,
Yay.
okay, Ms. Sharon,
No.
okay, Mr. Lindsay.
Stay. So I don't want you guys dialoguing again. And I was
Okay,
Good.
Mr. Lee,
No.
Chairman Bassminer,
No.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Ms. Wiseman,
No.
okay, and Ms. Doyle.
Yes.
2, 3, 4. With the abstaining, the motion doesn't pass. Okay, so we'll keep that off. Nothing prevents us from revisiting it in the future though.
Thank you. And so moving on with my removal docket, I have one more case before actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to skip to the restoration docket.
How would
And
you
I'll
like to,
just
yeah,
come back
How would you like
to this one case because I expect there's going to be some conversation about that. So for my restoration docket, the board took 45 months and applying the TDOC matrix, my calculation would be, it would be 32 months. So that would be restoring 13 months back to that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offenders. And then let me ask you this, because I'm going to ask for something that, do you want to vote my docket and then I go to another item on my docket?
we'll
We'll
stay with you as long as you want, so however you want to present it.
Okay, so you'll notice that I have a June 2025 all credit removal docket. And this is where I'm asking the board to consider whether or not an offender should have any and all sentence credits removed, given the Class A that they've been involved with, along with an overall context of what their behavior's been within the facility. So you'll see I have one case here. This is someone with 11 priors.
What are we?
Do you see the heading that says June 2025, all credit removal docket? And there's one.
It's the second page right there.
Yes.
Just one case, okay? This is a case that occurred at Whiteville. It is coded as an assault on an offender without weapon, an AOO. The assailant has 11 priors. And this is.
Is that all in the last 18 months, all those priors?
Yes. And so this is what Thomas says for a description. The conclusion of an investigation from an incident that occurred. And interestingly enough, this is in our June cases, but this case occurred 5/29/25. So it's a May case. But the date on the incident is June 9th. So at approximately 3:26, it was determined Officer so-and-so was in a particular pod assisting with getting offender ready to go out for the chain, which is the bus that moves offenders. At that, and an offender started banging on the door for the officer's attention. Officer so-and-so went to cell number so-and-so, which houses offender so-and-so, and who will be later called the victim, and this offender you see on the docket. Offender, the victim, not my grammar, laying on the floor surrounded in blood with obvious signs of trauma. The officer then called a code for assistance via radio. Upon responders and medical arrived. The assailant was escorted out of the cell and placed in restraints and escorted to medical. The victim had no vital signs and life-saving measures immediately began by Core Civic medical staff. Inmate so-and-so was then transported to medical for further evaluation. Emergency medical service was notified by staff and arrived. Victim arrived at Bolivar General Hospital and was pronounced dead. So First of all, this, for me, should be coded a homicide, not an assault on an offender. This is a homicide. And they knew it day of. This person was dead. Dead very, identified and pronounced it in the hospital very shortly after being found by staff. So I'm unclear why this isn't even coded as a homicide. And I don't know if it's been referred out. But this
It has
person,
been referred as a homicide.
good, I'm glad to see that. And I hope they clarify in Thomas that this is a homicide. As I said earlier in this meeting, I think the board has a duty to protect the public from dangerous offenders and to ensure that dangerous offenders do not have access to sentence credits that allow them to be released any sooner than absolutely necessary. And so what I'm asking for the board to do is determine that whatever sentence credits this person may have, that those sentence credits be removed by the board in relationship to this homicide.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
Does Thomas show that, how many sentence credits that person has available in total?
Well, as we know,
Yes.
the sentence management may or may not be up to date.
Well, I'm not asking if it's up to date. I'm asking, I mean, if it doesn't show and I mean, we could, you know.
Whether you can
Say-
quantify
Yeah.
it that way. I
Yes,
understand.
yeah. And can you just go back real quick, the date discrepancy you described, it happened in May, but it wasn't,
It happened on May 29th.
But it
According
wasn't-
to the incident write-up, it happened on May 29th, but the incident is dated
in Thomas.
June, in Thomas is June 9th.
Okay.
And apparently June 9th, if you read the first line, is when they concluded their
The investigation,
investigation
okay.
of the accident, of what they refer to as an accident.
And I would just point out, we can ask for more information if we're not sure why it was coded as an AOO instead of a homicide. You know, I mean, let me know and I'm happy to ask them that.
Well, I'm not asking for more information. I would more direct them that this should appear as homicide because when the yearly reports are produced that list how many homicides have occurred in what facilities, if it continues to be carried in Thomas as an AOO, that year-end report will fail to capture this and perhaps other homicides that are actually occurring in the prisons.
I thought I heard you say that you were confused as to why it was coded as an AOO.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would code it that way.
Well, that's what I'm
But I'm
saying.
not asking them to.
No, you don't
clarify.
ask for anything. I know. I'm just saying if there's confusion, we do have a process to try and clear up some of that confusion. So we can utilize that or we can't. But I know some people do and I think it's good. So, so there's a motion to withdraw 100%. And does Thomas say now how much?
24.
So we would be removing 24 credit months from this individual.
From what I can see, and
Hey,
Chairman Bassfider,
days.
oh, I don't know. So yeah, it doesn't even, then he only has 24 days. There you go. But she brings up good points. Should be listed as a homicide.
Yeah, well, and you know, one thing's kind of interesting. We're working the back end and like, a few months ago, I had a rape and it occurred in a specific month. And the very next month, the person who was convicted for the rape at the D board earned good credits, good behavior credits the very next month. And so we really haven't had a discussion about how to close that gate. Because if somebody is killing somebody or somebody is raping somebody, one way to think about their sentence credits is to look at what they've already accrued. But I think this board has the statutory authority to consider whether or not we preclude or foreclose their opportunity to have good credits, given the fact that just last month, they killed somebody.
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive to me. Maybe that's just too common sense of me, but that's counterintuitive to me that you can kill somebody one month and get sentence credits the next month for good behavior.
No, sorry.
Rich,
He's got 24.
it's been referred. Go ahead.
It's been referred
It was in Thomas, it is a homicide.
to. So it's been changed.
Yes.
It's been changed, probably since it got referred.
So,
It's a different incident number, but it is a homicide.
Yeah, and so maybe this is an opportunity because Chairman and Mr. Frank both pull these cases and create incident lists that are at that time, the offense code assigned. But offense codes are changing over time. And at some point, we may want to think about having a work group where we come up with a way to ensure that the incident offense codes, as they're finalized, are then changed.
Did they give it a new number, Chair?
Yeah, it's got it.
When is it? What is this? Months later?
doesn't that happen
No,
on the master
they gave it
spreadsheet
on
though?
the-
Wouldn't the reviewer, when they review it, put in the master spreadsheet whether the code has been changed?
But it hadn't been changed when I reviewed
Can you
it.
give me some numbers?
But now
So they moved
it's
back
been
to
changed, or
29.
did they write a different incident?
He said it's a new incident.
167, 46, 55.
But can I get clarification on the motion? So when we write it, if the motion were to pass and we were to send an action form to TDOC, what would be your preference in terms of language? Would your preferential language be that the board has decided to remove 100% of this inmate's existing sentence credits? Or would you rather the language say the board has voted to remove the 24 days that probably shows in there? What would be your preference?
So actually, I have a third preference.
Okay.
And my preference would be, and this may be a case that we want to hold over for the September meeting. But I would, as I spoke a moment ago, what I'd like the board to consider is to use our statutory authority to preclude future accumulation of credit for some period of time. Because it does not make sense to me that you can commit a rape or a homicide in 1 month and you certainly don't get credit, but the next month you accrue good behavior credit because you didn't have any class A's that month. So I'm offering,
So is that part of your motion?
well, I think it's two different things.
Okay, so that's what I'm just, when we vote, I want to.
So when I say 100%, I don't mean 100% what he's got sitting on the books. And I don't mean 100% behind, I mean 100% going forward. That's what I mean, 100%.
So then I do think the motion should clarify how far forward.
No, I don't, to me, if you commit a homicide in prison, then you forfeit any early release on the sentence on which you committed a homicide.
But that's
So-
just statutory.
Yeah, I think that's a statutory thing.
Well, no, it has to do with sentence credits. Yes, it's
Well,
a
no,
statute.
I think
Yes, yes. So I'm not asking for you to send a piece
Yeah,
of
so that's what I'm
paper
trying to, yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
This is more beginning of a conversation for this board to think about. We're gonna come across this case, maybe another case. So maybe there's a whole separate bucket, and that's why I created a new bucket called 100%ers. But what do we mean by 100%ers?
Okay,
So we'll address that in September then,
Yes.
and I
please.
withdraw my motion.
okay. So we're not taking action on this incident today, but do we want to talk about this again in the near future?
Well, and
Okay,
they've got him at 24, and the matrix says 24, but he killed somebody.
Okay.
If I was 36 for sending an officer to the hospital, I wasn't comfortable with saying 48, because for me, you have revoked your privilege to sentence credits.
I understand that, but what,
For the
Like-
purpose of paperwork.
yeah,
So-
like, is there any action that you'd want us to vote on right now?
Discuss it.
Discuss it next in September.
Yeah, I'd like to mark this one as pending for the September docket.
Okay,
So that we can work together.
and in between now and that September docket, have a further discussion on this.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, we'll have our general counsel by that point.
Hey, can
That
you
will be
discuss that,
really
Jesse?
helpful.
For the sake, I don't want to violate this person's right. He said he committed a homicide, but this been referred, to an AG on side. Is it safe for us, allegedly? I mean, this person still gotta be, presumed innocent and guilty. So just to take everything now is us saying, we know you done it. And that's why it's good that we're pushing it off because, again, when we have our counselors to tell us right now, he hasn't been charged or he or she will be charged. I think we gotta have like time for due process. So taking all his time or his or her time now, I don't think that person's gonna walk in and say, yes, I've done it. So I think just being on record, he's alleged to have committed a homicide. And how do we go forward with that? When it's referred out, we make a decision now. Are they getting their due process?
And I think that's what we'll discuss.
We'll discuss next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
In between now and the September public meeting, we'll have a chance to sit down and flesh a lot of that out.
And it's not just in this case. Are we gonna create that for everything going forward?
I think that's the idea. I think that's the hope, to have a fuller conversation about these types of things. Okay, so then I just have one other question, Dr. Karpos, and again, it goes back to the effect of whatever vote we have. When it comes to the docket that you have listed as the IPT cases, how do you see us handling those? Like, what would you like to have done on those?
So I put in the column that I want the letter sent, that the board decision is for the full sentence with credit withdrawal to be done, irrespective of the IPT flag stopping.
Okay, so for that docket, we'll be talking about creating an action form with the language that the court has noticed, or the board has noticed that there was an IPT designation for these. The board has decided to direct PDOC to remove that designation and impose the punishment immediately.
Well, whether they remove the designation or not, sentence credits, if you're sending that letter, would act on the sentence credits. And the reason I broke it off is that I'm not doing a plus or minus here.
Well, that's
It's
what I'm
the
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when we send that letter,
full- It'll say the full amount.
yeah, but
The board is deciding to remove this full amount because they won't have gotten any signal to remove anything because the IPT prevents that.
okay, so that's kind of where I was getting at with in terms of remove that designation and just impose the punishment that the D board found, but you haven't been notified. Okay, okay, just, it helps me.
Well, but the D board made that decision. Their
That's what I'm
decision
saying.
was to hold it in abeyance. Now the board, as oversight, is saying
But we're agreeing with the decision of the D board in terms of the sentence withdrawal
some of them I enhanced.
Oh, see, I don't see that. Yeah.
Oh, the IPT.
Oh, I see. There's one where you
Yep.
went from 9 to 12.
Yep.
And there's actually one where you went from 4 to 1. So is that a restoration?
Well, no. Where it went from 4 to 1 or it went from 1 to 1?
No, but it says E Ward 4,
Which line?
Matrix 1, it's white 6, 1, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Second page, first page.
First page, it's on the IPT basis,
Okay.
and it's,
Gotcha.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So is that restoring?
Well, no, they never took the 4 to begin with.
I know,
So
but
I'm saying take 1. You never even took 4. You imposed an IPT, so you never even took the 4. So I'm saying it should be 1 because they have no priors. And I'm asking you to take 1. I'm not restoring anything because you took nothing. Not you personally, I'm sorry.
no, I know. I'm just trying to think how to explain that to them. Okay, I'll figure it.
So I'm sorry.
I've got one question. The case you're talking about is the assault case. It's not the homicide. It's the assault.
Right.
And the D board took 24 months is what they're.
They did take 24 months.
Why don't we approve taking the 24 months? Because the homicide is a different case.
Has that one been
And
heard?
the guidelines and I call this the Nikki Gosher clause that they created. When an inmate is charged criminally for a violation of state or federal law that has been committed while the inmate was incarcerated, The disciplinary board may exceed maximum punishment guidelines up to the removal of all earned sentence credits. Then the assistant commissioner of prisons or designee must approve the board's decision to remove all credits. So if you take 24 months, he's only got 24 days. That's at least putting him almost 2 years in the hole. And if you're going to take all of his credits, then you're coming out to the better now.
So you said that, it has a new, or it was written,
Yes,
and is that in the June caseloads or the July caseloads?
that was written in the June.
So
It never went to
didn't
D.
get assigned to anybody on this
No,
board?
it never went to D. It was one of those that went backwards. It was probably a death pending originally when it was assigned. But, after they made it a homicide, then it's never been to D board, but it is in the offense, it's a homicide. And
So how is it that it would ever come under that additional sentence?
I think, but by
If it
their
didn't go to D
guidelines,
board.
that it's any criminal violation of state or federal law committed while incarcerated.
Well, but does it have to go to the D board for that? I mean, how does that get on the list to be done? Who does?
Well, it's got to be approved by the commissioner, but I think that's one of the things we can go back and pull the May case, 929 case.
So I think it's good we've got this one going forward on the
Yeah.
September docket. We have time to kind of look at it and understand a little bit more, because this one is unusual. It's definitely unusual. I did have a couple of deaths that were assigned to me.
Okay.
And they were unusual. This was a death at Trousdale, and the incident indicates that emergency personnel were called to a particular cell, that the offender was lying on the ground unresponsive. The emergency team came and they administered Narcan. And the first dose of Narcan seemed to have no effect. And then a registered nurse came and administered a second dose of Narcan. And the offender was placed on a gurney, and says they were escorted to medical. And then the death certificate came back and said death due to hanging, suicide. So, on the front cover of the incident, it says no longer death pending, DEP, which is how it was assigned to me. It says DES, death suicide. I'm totally confused on administering Narcan, and I didn't see anything there that said anything about hanging, but it's a death suicide. So, yeah, there are some real idiosyncrasies in some of the documentation and reporting with regard to this particular death. And then I have another death. This one, it says they made the assessment not to administer Narcan. And the person was declared deceased. And the death certificate, let me back up, I'll read it to you. Medical emergency via radio, conducting security check in such and so place. Such and so inmate was recognized as being unresponsive. Emergency responders arrived on the scene, began life-saving measures. Are in so-and-so, made the determination that Narcan was not needed. Inmate was placed on stretcher, escorted to medical, not showing signs of improvement. Once in medical, never regained consciousness. Doctor determined inmate so-and-so pronounced deceased. They're at the facility at Trousdale. And death certificate came back, accidental fentanyl toxicity. So Those were 2 deaths assigned to me that didn't appear to include any statutory responsibility of the board for removing sentence credits.
Any other questions on Dr. Carpus's docket? Or is Dr. Carpus, any trends or anything you'd like to?
Other than just what I've noted.
Okay,
I tried to do that as well.
sure.
Motion to approve.
Okay, now, are we approving, all of the dockets, including the IPT and the restoration, but not the?
Minus the pending, which you
Minus the
noted for
pending,
September.
okay. Okay, and so for the IPT, it would be explaining that there's been an IPT assigned and that's why we're doing that. Okay. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a motion, any second on the approval of the docket as described?
Second.
Seconded? Okay, any discussion, any questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Carpos. We are moving on to Mrs. Sharon.
Thank you, Executive Director Stoll. I reviewed 178 cases for 255 separate inmates. Still have about 6 cases pending for June. I've had 18 mistakes made by the D boards in June on cases I reviewed. Submitted those to you all. I say 18, I guess it's really 19. Yes. I pulled it out. I resent the spreadsheet to everyone for that case in Northeast that Dr. Carpos, Mr. Carr were speaking about. 1678120, increasing that from 12 to 24. And so that takes my recommendation that we go, that I increase on those 18 cases, 121 months of additional sentence credit removal for those cases. I think TDOC took about 97 years in total from all the cases I've reviewed so far for that month. And I added another 10 to them. Just quickly, as far as trend, we talked about it, I think enough. I had 16 Bs in June. So far in July, I've got 33. I have 68 total cases pending going back 9 months. Actually going back to November of last year. So hopefully TDOC can get on those cases and all those pending cases that we all have and finish those cases so that we can add them to our spreadsheets. That's it.
Okay, and no Bs to worry about?
Ton of Bs, waiting with bated breath for our general counsel to tell us. I'll go back and look at those and I'll go back as, for the last year or so that I've been doing this. Because that's a great opportunity, I think, for us. If that's the case, we'll go back and correct those. Because I've got some assaults too that, drug possession, positive drug screens, all those things that are being, I think, converted to Bs when they shouldn't.
Okay,
So I look forward to getting a resolution of it.
great.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Sharon, do you plan on going back and looking for the IPT designations as well?
Absolutely. Again, for general counsel or TDOC to give us clarification on that. That's an interesting question brought today that I had no idea about.
Well, just so that everybody knows, what we'll do is we'll move forward with the action forms based on what we see in the dockets. But I mean, if you come across an IPT instance and you need us to do some different things, we can. But just when we're voting, the way I'm treating it is we're going to be creating forms based off of these numbers. So you'll have to let us know if there's something else that needs to be done because you saw an IPT or something like that. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we'll move to a vote on Ms. Sharon. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. Ms. Wiseman?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you are the next presenter.
Okay. I don't have my total number of cases. I'm sorry, but I reviewed cases according to my research. TDOC took 104 months on cases under the matrix. My research revealed it should have been 184 months, so that's an additional 80. There were a few cases where I returned time. One particular case that was out of, what's the special needs facility? Deborah K. Johnson or whatever. They took 4 months with one prior, but I increased it to 12 because that person had 26 Bs in that same time period. I know there's been some back and forth about what we're doing about that, but I did want to point that out if anybody has a problem with it. And so, yeah, total of 80 months additionally taken from various inmates. A few trends I noticed, Charlesdale had so many dismissals and a couple where they just don't put information in. They just don't have a disciplinary sentence entered. And then I also noticed an increasing amount of cases throughout all the facilities where they just won't put in the amount of LPP taken. Like it'll show disciplinary, it'll show guilty plea or found guilty or whatever, and they just won't have the sentence entered. Is anybody else seeing that? And
Yes, we, through Stahl, sent an email to Linda, and they were able to correct it quickly.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just kind of goes back, if there's individual incidents or situations that you'd like me to, get clarification on, or you'd like to have changed, or just please let me know. And I try to be in communication with them as much as possible so that those things that we're seeing can get changed and impacted inside of Thomas. So if you do come across it, feel free to let me know, and we'll try to get that corrected.
well, then I'll follow up with you and Tammy and email y'all because there were probably maybe 3 or 4 this month that I had, and I'm never quite sure, like, have they just not gotten around to entering it yet, or it just was a human error, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we see is just that. It's just human error, and it takes us,
To type it in.
yeah, it takes us pointing it out for them to go back and correct it.
Okay, well, I'll send you those names. Otherwise, I definitely think some of the facilities are doing better. It's like they'll always have the outlier, like they'll follow the matrix on every single one, and then on one, they'll just totally drop the ball. But that's really my report. So
Okay, thank you.
make a motion
Ms.
that,
White,
yes,
you've got one case, that it was a returned credit from Morgan County. It's case number 1675510. And they had shown that there were 9 months taken away, and you dropped it to 4 to give them back 5 months. Sometime after the fact, TDOC went in and changed it to 4. So they matched yours. Is it okay if we just take that one off the list?
absolutely. Thank you for catching that. I'm surprised they went back and fixed their mistake. Like,
Yeah, they catch us off guard.
it's the second one on my docket. If I don't know, Stahl, procedurally, can we just strike it out, or do you want me to send you?
Yeah,
again?
I've already crossed it out. So when we make a motion on your docket, that one won't be included. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And then that will reduce my total to, I can't do the math, but I can increase it, I guess.
Yeah, I think you did. So 85.
This is why I went to law school. I can't figure that out, but.
Oh, you leave it up to us. Look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Question for Ms. Wiseman or her docket? Okay, you're approved. Motion seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Let's move to a vote. All in favor of approving Ms. Wiseman's docket, absent the second incident listed there, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And we are on to our final, board member, Mr. Dunn.
I know, thank you, Chairman. Excuse me, thank you, Secretary. I know this was displayed to the board, but, I'm going to, make the, singular decision to postpone my presentment of my cases this month, the next month, because I have several cases that will be pending in the B category to A, and, I need to filter those out. I didn't know them separately, so I need to take time to filter them out, separate them before we go on the package deal.
You gonna roll with it?
Roll it. It's rolled on my decision.
Okay, great. Any trends or anything noteworthy that you'd like to?
Several to echo what's already been mentioned. I did notice a lot of what Ms. Bensy mentioned that, they're not moving things and a lot of extra violence I'm seeing this time. One particular case I'll bring up next month is at one facility, multiple inmates beat one inmate with mop handles. And if you know anything about, prison layout, there aren't mop handles laying around. There should be one on deck in the hand of the rock man at a time, and that's secured when he's done. So this is a pre-planned attack, and very little time was taken and compared to the injury and the preconceived dedication to injure the man. So anyway, or if not kill him. So anyway, but I'll address that later. But a lot of the same thing maybe I mentioned. Nothing.
Okay, we appreciate it. Okay, just two more agenda items then, our public comment period. I don't see anyone online. There's no one in the room. So with the chair's permission, I'll just move past that. Okay, and then with the closing notes, our September meeting right now is set for the 17th. I think that is the day after our hearing is scheduled. Is that still okay with everybody? Do we need to adjust that?
Good. That's good when we come up.
Okay, all right, great. So it'll be on the 17th. We'll do our agenda setting meeting the week before as usual. And then the only other thing I'll say is, as always, we appreciate Ms. Turner for all the work she does putting together this packet, getting the roof, getting the parking, doing the water. So much obliged to her. I know she wasn't feeling the best last week, but as always, pushed through and made the meeting great. So, okay. That's all I have. Does anyone online have any closing remarks for the group in the room? Okay, seeing none, I will turn it over to the chair for adjournment.
Okay. Without any further business, everyone in favor of adjournment?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now adjourned.
Yeah.
Yeah.